But how much will the American people react to all of this? Joining us now with thoughts on the issue is the president of the Word Doctors. Frank Luntz is back with us. Frank, good to see you, my friend.
Time is a wasting.
Time is a wasting. Where's the rush?
Does he not understand that the American people would rather have this done slowly, carefully, and correctly than risk this economy and risk challenging and changing this healthcare passage? The most interesting quote I've seen in the last couple of weeks is Chuck Schumer. And he said, and I quote, "The devil is in the details."
True.
I think that quote's going to come back to haunt.
I'm going to ask you in a minute what words would work best for Republicans in this debate, what words would work best for the Democrats. But before we get that, you're always dialing. Yes. We're looking at these ads, and because basically this is the narrative that's going on the outside, and these are the ads that are trying to influence the American people.
Correct.
Now we have our first ad. Set it up.
Patients First put together this ad. It's about an individual victim who talks about still being alive because she got American care. It's very powerful. You can see the Republican line just shoot up. The Democrats don't do quite as well, but it personalizes health care. Let's take a look.
Almost everyone agrees we should reform health care, but many in Congress want to create a government-run health insurance plan paid for by taxpayers at huge cost. Independent experts say tens of millions of Americans could lose their current health insurance and wind up on this public plan. England already has government-run health care, and their breast cancer survival rate is much lower. If you fund a lump, you could wait months for treatment, and potentially life-saving drugs could be restricted. Government control of health care here could have meant that 300,000 American women with breast cancer might have died.
Now, that hit your magic numbers, what you call your magic number of 70.
Among Republicans, among Democrats, it was a little bit lower. They talk about government control. Government takeover is still a more powerful phrase, but that ad grabs people. Everyone in America knows someone who has suffered from breast cancer, and tragically, a lot of us know people who have died from breast cancer. Imagine having to wait weeks just for the tests and months for the treatment.
Listen, I have been trying to tell this audience, and I spent a lot of time on my radio show today reading articles, and we've done it right here on this program, from Canada, from France, from Great Britain. The one that struck me the most, for example, on Long Island in New York, breast cancer. Almost 1 in 7, 1 in 8 women get breast cancer. My mother was one of them at the time. And what's amazing about this is the government rationing body in Britain denied women life-saving drugs because they couldn't afford them. That was a death sentence, Frank.
And yet you use the word ration. What the public is even more afraid of is the time that it takes. Yes, that is part of rationing. Two components. One is time, is the other is information. In Germany, they don't even tell you what medication you're qualified for because they want to deny it to you because it's too expensive. I've got one more ad.
Second ad.
Let's take a look.
Okay.
Washington now runs your banks, insurance, and car companies. But do you trust Washington with your life? Congress is rushing to take over health care, too, paid for by $600 billion in new taxes and cutting $400 billion from Medicare. Plus, tens of millions will lose their current insurance and wind up on the government health plan. What will happen to your family's health care if Washington runs it?
You think you were telling me this is the weakest, although the numbers did go 75 on the Republican side.
And they went to 44, almost hit the 50 among Democrats. Look, everyone thinks that health care needs to be changed. They believe that the uninsured do need to be covered. But what they are so frightened of is that we will destroy the entire health care system to cover these people. There's got to be a better way.
All right. One of the things you have been pointing out as we've been showing these ads to our audience is that it seems to work better when there are the professionals, the doctors, the nurses. Those ads seem to work better.
Because they're real people. Nobody wants to hear an announcer. This is something, and I say to the people producing the ads, when the American people are watching this, if they hear an announcer, it says to them that this is political, partisan, negative. But if the person themselves, either the patient or the healthcare professional is speaking, it has so much more credibility.
One of the things that you do so well is you like to break down the words that work. For example, the Democrats are now trying to make the case that this is the affordable choice healthcare system, which is a distortion.
It drives me. The person who's using my language, because I did some work on this, more than any other United States senator isn't a Republican. It's Connecticut Senator Chris Dodd.
All right. So what I want to do is, if Republicans are out there watching, congressmen and senators, and by the way, we know you watch, or people in the White House right now, Rombo Deadfish, he's watching. Okay. What advice would you give? We'll start with
you really want to get audited, don't you?
Oh, it's a done deal. But I pay my taxes, my fair share, and then some. But what would you advise the Democrats? What would be their best use of words?
First is you have Barack Obama talking about health care, not Nancy Pelosi. Every time that Pelosi comes on, they lose 50,000 votes. Obama still has the perfect messaging. And what he says is, there are some people out there who want to do nothing. He sets up a straw horse. It's not accurate, because all the Republicans I know want legislation.
Right.
But by saying that the Republicans are for nothing and he's for change, the American people are for change.
He said that earlier today. He said the cynics will say.
Yes.
And so that's part of, you would argue that it would be best for him to continue. What else would you recommend that they do?
They have to define it as the public option, not the government option. If you call it a government option, support for it collapses. If it's a public option, then it's even for the guy behind the camera there. It's for everybody. Although I'll tell you something, two things. Number one is that there's a petition out that says that you have to read every word of this legislation.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Second thing is that they should require members of Congress to have to sign up for this government option.
I love it.
If you're going to pass it, you should have to take it.
I think that would be good for the Republicans. All right, let's go through the Republicans now. For Republicans that want to stop this, that think it's bad for America, that it's unsustainable, that we can't afford it, that they'll ultimately be rationing, it'll hurt the healthcare system or destroy it, what do they say?
Well, that sounds pretty good to start, but it's a government-centered healthcare plan or a patient-centered healthcare plan. That's the difference. And already the Democrats, because they're rushing this so much, it does look like it comes from government. You've got half a dozen committees dealing with it right now, so that'd be the first one. Second one is the takeover that we talked about. Third is that under the Democratic plan, your care will be denied. That phrase denied is so
Who's
powerful.
doing better right now making their points?
The Republicans are doing better for this reason, even though a lot of Americans don't hear them. I'm watching the polling very carefully. The support for Obama's plan has dropped 10 points in 3 weeks.
Is it because it's cumulative now, stimulus, omnibus, debt, deficits, it's now becoming all part of one big thing?
And because people personalize it. Healthcare is not ideological or partisan. Healthcare is about me and my family.
Yeah.
Moms are looking and they're afraid of what it means for their children and what it means for their parents.
Now, we're going to watch this very closely because in the weeks to come, they're trying to rush this through, so people have got to pay attention now.
Exactly.
All right, Frank, good to see you. Good work. Thanks. And time now to